Hi guys, welcome back. And we have Megan Lee Miles, and today we're talking all about social media, how you can take your social media game to the next level. So, Megan, welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So give us some tips. You are, our business is a network marketing business as well because we do network marketing with real estate agents. So every time someone recruits an agent or attracts an agent underneath them, they get paid a percentage, and it's a really large percentage, and it goes down 5 levels deep. So I'd love for you to kind of talk about it as well on the network marketing level as well, because I know you are an expert in network marketing as well as social media. So what kind of got you to just be such a queen at this?
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. Well, I'm excited and thanks for having me here. Really excited. I love real estate, first of all, and I love network marketing. So I think what you guys are doing is absolutely incredible and one of the most lucrative businesses, in my opinion, because you can pull so many great aspects of business and unite them together and have that profit sharing revenue side and also take advantage of such a lucrative market in real estate. I've been in network marketing for almost 11 years. And really, how I started on social media, because I started very traditionally, old school hotel meetings. I mean, I was a person who would sit down with my Franklin Covey every day and go like 12 hours back to back, one-on-one meeting over and over, And really, what happened is I ended up having a son, and I was lugging my son to every event, right? Every vendor event, every meeting on my hip. And finally, I just came crashing to my knees crying one day. I'll be quite frank with all of you here. I was like, something has to change. This is not working. I'm making these large commissions and it's great, but I'm literally killing myself as a mother doing this. And so what happened is really, I just started to throw stuff at the wall, kind of like spaghetti at the wall, tried different things on social media. And probably over about 9 months of just a ton and ton of trial and error, I feel like I finally just kind of cracked the code and started to understand, how does social media actually work? And how do you actually generate leads from social media to leverage really the power of social media? Because what I love about social media is, if I'm going to be at, let's say, a vendor event or somewhere in person, this is kind of active work versus passive work that leads to passive revenue. So with social media, every time we place a piece of content out there, it's like casting a net into the sea and letting your kind of pieces of content capture leads on autopilot for you, right? These pieces of content live forever until you take them down. And so to me, building a system around social media has allowed so much leverage in our business and lifestyle now, so that we don't have to do so much of, especially as a mom, I work about 1 to 2 hours a day. I wrote a book called The 1 Hour Workday, basically for moms, all about this, of leveraging the power in what's really transformed right now, which is just crazy, social media. So that's kind of my story, how it was really just a come to Jesus moment of like, something has to change. So
Mhm. I love
yeah.
it. Well, first, I think I want to start by saying, and I'll give you an example of what not to do on social media and what drives me nuts. I think I've said it a million times, and literally our agents still do it all the time. So, what they'll do is they will go put up a property and they'll put in a Zillow link. And
Yeah.
we've gone through this a million times. We're like, first of all, Facebook wants people to stay on Facebook. So then you're sending them to Zillow. Then guess what? Zillow is then sending them to another real estate agent, because if you're not paying for Zillow leads, so it's just insane for people to do that. It doesn't matter what link you put, right? If you put a link in the main title, Facebook is, their algorithm's going to see that and go, we're not going to share this with anyone. Why do I only have one person looking at this? And you can see like 35 views or however many views. So with that, give us some other things that are like, absolutely do not do this.
Yeah. Definitely. So I will definitely, let me share a little bit too in depth, if it's okay, why Facebook does this. So this was this is me actually calming it down. So hopefully I'm not too robust for you guys here today. My energy.
They deal with me like,
oh, okay.
I'm as robust as it gets. So they're
I'm like,
bring it on.
So I'm going to try to keep it a smooth medium and try not to talk too fast. So slow me down in the comments, you guys, if I'm going too fast. But let me break down a little bit why this dings you in the algorithm. So I had this aha moment, really. It was, I think, back in 2017 when I really just was like, something has to change. And I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, Facebook is like, and the reason I say Facebook is because it is where you're going to get the highest quality leads. So you can be on other platforms, do whatever. But the moment I actually started having success on social media was the moment I stopped trying to conquer every platform and just got really stinking good at one. And thankfully, I chose Facebook, and I didn't even know it at the time, but you're going to get the highest quality leads because it has such a high trust factor already. So anyways, I decided to just go all in on Facebook, and I realized it was kind of like, everyone would be like, what do we say, Megan? Like, our team members, what do we do? Like, just think of it as if you were to walk into a coffee shop, what would you say to the person next to you in line? Traditional network marketing. Oh, I like your shoes. Where are you from? Start a conversation, right? So when you're scrolling on Facebook, you need to engage the same way. Be human, okay? Be a human first, a marketer second. You will win extraordinarily big. And so the reason Facebook likes when you does not like when you post links, okay, is because you are taking people off the platform. You just mentioned this, right? You're taking people off the platform. You see, Facebook wants to keep people on the platform. The more conversations you start, the more comments your content gets, the more shares, the more interest, the more excitement your content creates, the more the algorithm will reward you as a content creator by now showing you and giving your content more exposure. Because guess what? Facebook wants to keep people in the community. Unfortunately, it's not just because Mark Zuckerberg wants, yay, people making friends online. It's because guess what? People like me, maybe you, some of us here, we pay as advertisers to create lead generation through advertising. So the more warm people that are on the platform, right, the more they can charge for advertising. And that's how they capitalize, right? So we have to look at the big picture, not just, oh, they don't like a link, whatever, it won't hurt so much. It's, no, you are building this like scoreboard with Facebook. And every time you do something spammy, I'm just going to call it out. And some of you are like, oh my gosh, that's me. I've done that a million times. It's okay. We've all done it. I've done so many spammy things. You have no idea, right? We learn from it, but it's because we're building this scoreboard. So you never want to post a link that is something, unless it's like another Facebook link. You also do not want to be that person. I'm going to call a couple people out here. Let's see. Who do I see? Maybe Sherman. I'm not sure. A couple of you might have been doing this. It's okay. Stop posting all the reels of the baking recipes or all those things. Like, people should come to
forwarding them, like when you see it and then you forward it. Is that what you're saying?
Good question. So not forwarding it, like sharing it to your profile. So when people come to your profile, they should know what you do, who you help, how you help them, what result they could get with you. They don't need to see 20 different reels about, baking pumpkin pies prior to Thanksgiving or whatever it is. I get it. I like to watch reels too. I share them to friends, but you don't want to clog up your feed with a bunch of like shared content, other people's content. Does that make sense?
Right.
I want to tell you, one of the reasons why I joined and I just love Canzel is that I can get 100% commission, I get revenue share, and I get stock. I am making thousands of dollars every single month in revenue share in stocks. And I now don't have to work nights and weekends on real estate anymore. You know, I've actually never been to a real estate agent's retirement party, and I want to be the first one that people are coming to at a young age. And I want to share with you some of my favorite resources. So if you go to joincanzel.com/free, there's a couple that I want you to download. One is a 20 free lead generating PDF. It's going to help you generate leads for free that you can download, as well as there's one on how to double your business. I don't want you to miss it. Go download it today. joincanzel.com/free.
Sharing too much, you're saying, is a red flag.
Yes. But it's different if you're like, okay, I'm going to share this reel to my story, or maybe you're going to share it to your feed 1 or 2 times because it's something my audience would like, right? That's not a bad thing. It's not bad to share reels necessarily in your stories, for instance, but when you post all those reels to your feed, it's going to it's going to look a little spammy, and it's going to tell Facebook also, oh, you're not contributing as much. You're participating, but you're not contributing as much. So they won't view you as a highly equitable contributor to the platform.
I also want to say this, like everyone should be putting your Facebook right now in the chat. Whenever I see someone's post from the company, let's say they're posting about a house or whatever they're doing, if I see it, I'm going to like it. I'm going to make a comment, because you guys, we need to have a community. Don't you agree within us? Like if I see one of Megan's posts, I automatically like it and comment every single time. And, you know, it doesn't really matter because I want to boost that engagement. So you guys need to be friends with each other. And anytime you see any kind of post, make sure you're liking it and make sure you're commenting, because the more comments you get, comments begat comments begat comments, correct?
Exactly. Comments are the currency in this year, especially on social media. Like they're a currency. So if you can drive comments, you are very valuable to Facebook, and they will treat you very well and give you great exposure. That's how people go viral, because they create comment that creates interest, right? So absolutely.
But then you can also comment. So when someone comments, then you need to reply to that comment. So then, you know, whatever they say, oh, thank you so much, or whatever they say, that will increase it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we do that too, of like, hey, I just posted we call it like a curiosity call to action post, let's say, right? Like we will post it in our chat, like, hey, can I get a boost? Right. And so you want to go comment, because the Facebook algorithm will determine within the first 4 to 5 minutes whether a post will move on or not. And actually, if it's a good time, I have a little example for that. You want me to break down how the algorithm boosting works?
Yeah, I'd love to. And what I would like to tell people here is you can go into our Canzel internal, share it inside the Canzel internal. And I like what you just said. It's called, can I get a boost? Meaning you guys, can you make sure that you comment, like, to kind of help me bring this to the top of the feed? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a great way, leverage each other, because it's all about teamwork, right? Like, hey, I help you, you help me, we rise together, right? And so be willing to do that for your team members, but also be willing to, like, when you're scrolling, comment on other people's posts, because you're telling Facebook, I'm contributing, I'm starting more conversations. Guess what? Now those people will see more of your posts, and that's what I'll kind of break down here.
Okay, great.
So the way I think of Facebook algorithm. So I don't know if you guys remember how long you've been on Facebook. And if you're not using Facebook right now, please start. Like if you're messing around with other platforms and you're not having success, my just expert opinion. Now, obviously, if something you're doing is working, don't change that. But my expert opinion is start with Facebook, start slow, get to know it really well, because it is you're going to have the highest trust factor, is the highest quality leads that you can get. So a few years ago, I always say that, and it's like years go by. Okay. So I don't know, maybe it's probably almost like 8-10 years now. ago. Remember when you would scroll on Facebook and you would see all of your friends' posts, like you'd see everybody, and then it was like almost overnight, like, why do I keep seeing the same 10 people every day in my feed, right? It's like, what happened to everybody, right? Well, what happened is the algorithm started to improve, and they started to basically come up with this way, right? Now, I don't work for Facebook, so I don't have any formal expert, like this is exactly how the algorithm works, right? This is just through learning and trial and error and what works for us. But the way I like to think of it is they kind of broke your friends list into segments. And the way I like to think of these segments are kind of like, I don't know if we have any parents here, but I'm a mom and I'm always tripping over these stinking Legos, right? And so I like to use this as an example because you can use Legos to build like a house, let's say, right? But the house of Legos is broken up into Legos itself, right? So what Facebook did about eight years ago or so is they broke your friends essentially into sections. So you have like your first Lego, which is your top 5 to 10 friends and family. These are like hot, like my mom, my sister, like I post on everything she comments. I talk to her on Messenger all the time. I'm like, Facebook knows we're like besties, right? Then from there, you have kind of your next, like, let's say 20 to 30 friends who are pretty good friends. Maybe you talk to once a month or once a week, something like that. Then you have like your next group of associates that maybe you see at quarterly company events. You kind of know them. You've had a couple conversations, but it's not a very consistent form of conversation. You don't really see their stuff unless maybe they have something like that's going viral and you start to see theirs and vice versa. And then like at the bottom, at the very last Lego is basically like the people that you added on Facebook at that college party 15 years ago or 20 years, however long it was. And like, you've never talked to them since. Like, you don't even know you're still Facebook friends with them, but you are, but they don't know who you are because they never see your stuff and you never see theirs. So the reason I give this example is because a lot of people wonder, well, how do I create more engagement? Well, first off, when you create more engagement, you basically tell the platform that you're contributing to the platform, you're driving conversations, you're driving more community, you're keeping more people on the platform, which makes the advertisers happy, right? And you're keeping people on there. They want to reward you. So when a post goes out within a couple of minutes, like I said, if you get a little bit of engagement, it will send it to the next group of people. So within those first 5 minutes, if let's say your post goes out and your top 5 to 10 see it, let's say, and someone comments, Facebook will go, oh, okay, people like that. All right, let's send it to the next group. Oh, okay, people are commenting there. Now, what you're doing to be strategic is, I just saw this, whoever said this, so genius, I've never heard it. I'm totally going to steal it. I'll give you credit every day. Don't post and ghost. So good. Do not do that. When you make a post, you want to be available for at least 10 to 15 minutes because your goal, like, it's like a race. It's like, how many comments can I get in the first 10 to 15 minutes, right? Because now if you got one and then you went back and you replied, and what if you replied with a question? Now they're commenting again. You are literally training Facebook to show your stuff to more people because you're telling them, I am so good at starting conversations, right? I'm so good at starting conversations. And guess what? When I start conversations, more people are on their phone all day long. Look at me, right? Like, show my stuff to more people. So now you've got, these groups of people talking. Now Facebook's like, okay, people are liking this. So it sends it to the next group of people in your feed, whether it's your friends or your followers, or expanding, even if you have a public profile, expanding to an external reach. And then, it'll keep going. And that's why when you have a post that's starting to get traction on comments, maybe a few days later, you'll be like, Cindy Lou Who from 10 years ago that I've barely talked to just commented on my post, and people will come out of the woodwork. It is so crazy.
That's why I like happy birthdays and anniversaries, because whenever it's someone's birthday, everyone's like, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. And then that's like you said, it starts going down that list and people start commenting that you've never even heard from for however long.
Exactly. So you're just you've got to kind of reconnect, right? So a lot of times, especially in network marketing, people will be like, oh, I don't have anyone else to talk to. And you guys are not these people. I know this because my philosophy is, especially in the real estate world, like you're here because you're wearing more of a business cap here, especially with the conversation we had previous about profiting, right? You carry a little bit more of a heavier backpack, shall I say, than the traditional network marketer. Right? Here's my $9 website fee. Cool. I'm a business owner. Right. Like, so with that being said, I forgot my train of thought. What was I just saying about the post? Where was I going with that? Who can read my mind? Nobody. Okay.
Well, let me change gears real quick because we're running out of time and I want you to get this real quick.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about Facebook Reels because I have a friend of mine who said that their business literally quadrupled when they started doing Facebook Reels. And I want you to talk about a little bit about the differences between Facebook and Instagram Reels. And I know that, and I think that both of them, I don't know, is it 90 seconds? The content has to be 90 seconds long. Is that right? Or less for Facebook Reels?
Yeah, it can be. You usually want to have more of like a 7-second reel, just because the attention span is decreasing. Shorter. You can have a longer reel strategy as well, but typically like on the shorter end. But yeah, anywhere between 3 to 90 seconds, basically.
So if you post on Facebook, what I've learned is if you post on Facebook and you add the thing that says, if you post it on Facebook and Instagram at the same time, I feel like the algorithm knows that you didn't post it directly to Instagram and you don't get as many. So you should really just post it to Facebook and then post the same thing to Instagram. Do you agree with that or no?
I do. We do it the reverse way, but yes, I do. And I will say Facebook Reels are hotter this year for sure. The much hotter, seeing a lot just all around again. Instagram Reels were definitely up, like Facebook Reels have taken over. But we create in the Instagram app and it shares with Facebook, but we still go and upload it onto Facebook. And so also for anybody here who has a VA or maybe your own VA right now, but our repurposing strategy is if I create something new, which isn't as often now because we have a lot that's being repurposed, but I create it uploads, it automatically shares, but then my VA will go pull that piece of content and re-upload it to Facebook, YouTube Shorts, TikTok. I think there's one other place. And then they will also take later in the day an older one from 3 to 6 months before and repost it as well. And then they will also post like a repurpose from a YouTube or something like that. But
I think that's so good because I think people forget about the idea that you can repurpose videos and just make them into small clips, like you've done something a couple months back. Talk a little bit about some of the tips that, like I'm telling you, I have a couple of friends, like I said, that have said that Facebook Reels has literally quadrupled their business. And they said that a couple tips were they used vertical video instead of horizontal. They started using music. They didn't do anything with like blurry or low resolution, like don't make sure that it has like good resolution. What are some more tips that you would say of why is Facebook Reels and what should you do to make those kind of go viral and be on a bigger scale?
Yeah. So I love Reels. We did this like Reels for Dummies workshop. And it was really great because really they've taken over and it's like, okay, step 1, how do I make a reel, right? But essentially, as far as the biggest thing in my opinion is the content, meaning how can you create niche specific content? Because the algorithm will recognize similar interests that people are watching, right? And that's when they can start to categorize the content, you have a higher likability of going viral. So for instance, in real estate, one of the biggest things that I see realtors that I know do is kind of like you said, it drives you a little crazy. Like when they post the Zillow link and the house and it's like, Okay, but then what, right? Instead, think, how can you position yourself in the marketplace around, by branding yourself essentially around a specific niche? You try to talk to everybody, you'll end up talking to nobody. So it doesn't mean that you can't take other types of clients, but I would really encourage you to get specific about one type of audience on your social media. Is that first-time home buyer? Is it the investor? Is it, people who are downsizing, people who are upgrading to luxury? Get really specific. So then you can create niche specific content that will really pull and attract that audience in. And that's attraction.
Adding value. You're saying like, give them, and don't just say, look at me, just sold another, just sold this, number one, blah, blah, blah. Like, give them value. Like, give us some specific things that you would say, this person's actually giving me value. I know when I talk when I have people come on my podcast, I always say to them, like, figure out, because some people want to just sell. And I always say, it's like going out on a date with someone and 5 minutes later, you're trying to get them in bed. And it's like, no, you have to wine them and dine them and take them out to eat and, do all that before. They're always trying to close them. And I think that's another problem, is like, just give valuable content. And you can ask friends. Like I've asked friends before, like, what kind of questions do you have right now? That I could answer. So give something like practical tips that they could use, that you would, like, say for you, that you'd be interested, that you'd be like, oh, that's engaging content.
Yeah. So I'll start broad and narrow into an exact tip. And then I know we got to wrap up, but the best way I think of looking at how do you add value and how do you direct leads into basically your offer with adding value, positioning yourself as the expert, is I think of it as like a house. The front of the door is like selling, like, hey, do you want to buy a house? Right? Like, come in, I want to serve you. The side or the back entrance is bringing them in by solving a problem that your audience has. And then solving that problem creates the next problem, which is buying the house, right? Or buying an investment or whatever it might be. So think of ways that you can solve problems by giving education and value to your audience for free, and create content around that. So let's say you're attracting, you're focused on home for first-time buyers, right? You could be talking a lot about some of the financing pieces, even to the limitations that you can. But I think there's a lot of first-time home buyers out there that don't buy because they think X amount of myths about buying houses, right? So you can crush some of those myths for them in your content. You can give them tips, and you can also just be funny. Like I see a lot of just funny content, thinking like, make people laugh.
Give me an example.
Okay. So there was this reel. There was this reel the other day, and I sent it because I have a couple people who, I help with real estate stuff, and I was like, you have to do this. So the guy was pulling up and he's like, all proper and focused. He's like, with coffee, like, hello, it's nice to meet you. Let me make sure the lights are on. He's super proper. And he's like, and then the caption says, how you pull up, for the first time showing someone a house. And then the next one is he pulls up with his gangster rap, like out the door, like, what's up, homie? Let's go. It's like, after you've shown them 10 houses and become their bestie, it's like, that was funny, right? Like that was really funny. So the value there is, you made people laugh. And some people are like, I'm not here to make people laugh. I'm here to make money. Let me tell you this. You make me laugh, you have my money. You give me value and didn't try to push anything down. Like yesterday at the gym, my son's working out with the trainer. The other trainer, we just got in a conversation. He ended up solving a huge problem for me around my sleep. And at the end of it, I literally was like, can you invoice me? Like, please invoice me, because this was very valuable. And I'd like to start training with you, because you didn't even ask me. You didn't even know this, but I've been looking for a new trainer. And so he just poured value, right? Mm-hmm. And it built such a trust factor. So make people laugh, give them value. Yeah.
I love it. Well, this has been amazing. Thank you, Megan. Tell listeners where they can find you, where they can follow you, and any kind of offer that you have that you want to give them.
Yeah. So I'm going to put my Instagram in the title, but what I didn't realize, which would actually be really helpful, is I have a checklist that's all around like the super basics for social media. That would probably be really helpful. It's a little bit geared towards like recruiting, but it's essentially the same thing. How can I, on a consistent basis, and this is exactly what I did to build a multi-million-dollar business with an hour a day from social media, the exact things I needed to do every day to show up online. Super simple. And you can actually grab that at 1hourworkdaychecklist.com. And that's like a free gift. Sorry, I didn't give that to you earlier. I just, based off this conversation, I think that would probably be helpful for you guys. So 1hourworkdaychecklist.com, super simple. You can grab that.
Now, what's funny is you just said, you were like, I said, you said, I think Facebook is king. Everyone should be, that's where you get the best quality leads. But then when I said, where do you follow you? And you said, here's my Instagram. Tell me why you said that.
Yeah. So the reason I said that is because it was just easier to type that in. I don't have my Facebook link.
Okay.
So,
well, we'll get it. We'll get your
Facebook.
That. We'll get your Facebook and we will send it out to everyone so they can follow you there as well.
I prefer that. Because
I prefer Facebook too, but I do too. Well, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for being with us. And show Megan some love in the chat. She gave us so much value today. Thank you for pouring into us, and we just really appreciate you today.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a rating and a review so we can get this out to more agents. And tune in next week for another power-packed episode. This is the Millionaire Real Estate Podcast.